Oh, yeah? Well, so's your face. Stop touching my microphone.
Well, you're mistaken.
Vidka?
Okay.
You're really campaigning for Bitch of the Year, aren't you?
I swear, one of these times you're gonna wake up in a coma.
If we can focus, keep discipline, and not have quite as many mysterious deaths, Sunnydale is gonna rule!
Hey, everybody! That's our new intro. It's a work in progress. Yeah, welcome to episode 36 of GrrArghCast, the Joss Whedon recap podcast that brings together Slayer aficionados and virgins as we watch and review all things Whedon. I'm Brandon Ellison.
And I'm Vacation Jewel.
Yay!
That's Vacation Jewel Rocket Rose, and thank you so much for joining us. We are joined, as always, by our wonderful fact checker / producer, BJ Kramer.
Woo, woo.
And Heather Malone is back with us. Hey, Queen.
Welcome.
I'm always
Heather.
here. I just sit off to the side and wait for you guys not to have someone so I can go me.
We have a few people like that. Will is like that. Will, I know if I ask him like 20 minutes before, he'll come in. Who else is like that? Ashley is kind of like
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
We kind of, me and my co-host Tig are like that. There's always, every once in a while, there's the call that somebody flaked, and we're like, we're here forever. We can do it.
It's really been an interesting experience for sure. Heather, tell anyone who hasn't already watched about your other podcast.
Well, nobody wants to hear about the Model Horse podcast because that's weird. But
Right.
we did just do 50 episodes, so our 50th
Nice.
episode. So the real deal is that I am one of 4 co-hosts for the Nevers podcast, which is anxiously awaiting the release of the Nevers television show, which is Joss's newest effort. He is in production again. The COVID shutdown has been lifted, at least for their production, and I know that they are back shooting. His partner, Heather Horton's show, she's a master painter, was this weekend, and he was in the chat. So, but you can
Nice.
find us on all the podcast outlets at the neverspodcast.com, or, we're on Facebook and Instagram.
Woo!
Nice.
I want to see the show.
I'm so ready. I am so ready. And I don't know if it's going to, since there was such a huge delay, if we're going to even get it in 2021 now. I haven't heard anything about that. So
Oh, that's such a bummer.
it is. But it's so production heavy. You know how HBO is. This is on the level of Game of Thrones and stuff like that, with the budget and the costuming and all that. So there is no telling.
For some reason, our Facebook chat feature that was just working on our Wonder Falls podcast 2 hours ago is not working.
Ruh-roh.
But I will tell you, that sucks because that's my favorite part of the whole show.
Oh, no.
Amy Whedon Knight was asking about, she said, model horses like Breyer horses.
Yes, ma'am.
And then Joshua Wesner says it's called Mares in Black.
Oh, that's my partner being
Oh, nice.
being creepy.
Nice. Well,
Thank you,
welcome,
honey.
creepy partner.
He's also our producer editor. He's our BJ.
Nice. Oh,
There's
everyone
only one.
Everyone needs a BJ. That's what I say. Well, I say that
I was
often.
waiting.
So on today's episode, we are reviewing Wild at Heart from Buffy and Sense and Sensitivity from Angel. We're going to jump right in and start with Wild at Heart. Oz discovers that Veruca, the singer with whom he feels a strange connection, is also a werewolf, and soon finds his relationship with Willow and his control over his wolf side called into questions. Not questions. So this episode is sort of a continuation of last week's episode where we dig into the sort of Veruca subplot. We meet Veruca for the first time and she can't lip sync.
with her big greasy lip gloss lips.
Correct.
Gloss was a big deal in the 90s. That MAC
It
lip
was.
glass, I lived for that stuff. You just wanted to look juicy at all times.
Heather, when she got on, said we have to talk about Veruca's lip gloss.
We
and
do.
It's literally the first thing we talked about.
100%. It is MAC lip gloss or it is a Juicy Tube by Lancome. 100%.
You know what's even funnier? We just did an Evers podcast on the monstrous women and we were talking about Veruca, and we talked about her lips then too, and getting it all in the microphone and blah blah blah.
Oh, so gross. That's gross for props having to clean that off. Disgusting.
Amy's daughter rides horses, English riding. She loves Breyer horses.
Yeah, I used to ride English.
I don't know what that means, but I've ridden a few English in my days.
There's two different kinds of saddles. You have an English saddle and a Western saddle. A Western saddle has a horn, an English saddle does not, and you have to post.
Yes, exactly. Cowboys ride Western. The Lone Ranger rides Western.
Mm-hmm.
Uptight white girls like Paris Hilton ride English.
Okay. So the episode opens. Buffy's being chased by a vampire. She gets him basically away from the crowd. She fights him. She stakes him. Spike is watching from a distance. I love this scene. Spike standing in the background and menacing and talking about how he's back. And then zap. He gets taken down by guys with tasers. And it's the same army guys that we've seen in a few episodes before this.
I think they work for the Watchers Council.
Okay.
That's a good postulation.
No comment.
Yes. Postulation.
It's a big word.
Sorry.
I understand. It's okay.
SAT girl.
So we're back. We're at the Bronze. The gang is talking about college and whatever. And then Giles shows up. And Giles is like trying to fit in, and the scene is so awkward and funny when Giles like kind of is trying to saddle his way into the group and English saddle his way into the group.
He tries. I mean, poor Giles. He is just
he can't help
beyond
it.
his depth.
Well, they were so just like it was so like he's younger than me in this scene, and I'm kind of like, oh, come on.
Well, he does have a good record collection. It's not terribly surprising.
He really does.
Was it Velvet Underground? I think that.
Yeah.
We had that, and at one point they brandished a Cream album. So yeah.
And pretty soon we will be seeing him singing "Freebird," and "Behind Blue Eyes."
Behind Blue Eyes.
Yeah. So Veruca is performing at the Bronze, and all the guys are like mesmerized by her. She sounds like if Lana Del Rey and Garbage had a really shitty band together.
That's pretty accurate.
Really garbage instead of good garbage.
Yeah, instead of garbage, it's just trash. She's terrible.
She's not great.
So Willow wakes up in Oz's bed the next morning, and they talk about he's going to be locked up because the full moon's coming. There's a Wicca group those nights. She's going to go meet with the Wicca group, etc., etc. And your partner's posting very funny GIFs in the chat, including one of Giles. It just says Giles and it's Steve Buscemi saying, "How do you do, fellow kids?"
Honey.
And
it was 30 Rock, right?
I love it. Yeah, it's from 30 Rock, and I love it. So Willow is like envious of Buffy because she's got better scores in her psych class than Willow does.
I thought
She
that
got
was
a higher
great.
score on the test or the paper or something. And she was like,
Veruca invites Oz to sit with her at lunch, and then everybody comes over with him, and Willow arrives, but they're talking about amps and guitars and things, so she's like, okay. So everyone is basically just like fleeing the conversation because it's just not any. It's like if we had a lunch and you were like, "Here's all my model horse friends."
Awkward.
Yeah.
Awkward.
It's exactly the same. So Buffy tells Willow not to worry about Oz. Oz locks himself in a cage in the crypt, but the door isn't secure, and he breaks through. And he jumps out and he chases
it's like
Professor Walsh.
he hears his siren song too. I feel like he hears like there's something out there. There's competition now.
Yeah.
He tried a little harder to get out this time, I feel like.
Yeah.
He hears Veruca going.
It was like a dog moan. My dog makes those weird ass noises when she's hungry.
Oh
She's like, "Ah."
They're caterwauling like a cat and heat.
Oz is chasing Professor Walsh, and then another werewolf jumps out. They fight each other. Oz wakes up the next morning naked with this other werewolf, who is Veruca. They go into the campus laundry room, and Veruca's like, "You're a wolf. You should be a wolf like me. It's gonna be super cool."
They go in there in the laundry room to steal clothes because they are naked as the day they were born.
Did you ever notice when she talks to him, it's all like, with her head down, and she's like looking up through.
Those are her sultry, sexy eyes.
Oof, they were not.
That was her come hither stare.
Yeah, she's got to work on that.
Working.
So Buffy tells Giles that there were two werewolves, and Giles goes to Oz, and Oz says he doesn't remember anything about what happened.
Liar.
Right. Willow asks Xander about Oz, and he tells her that the reason he's off with her is probably because he could sense her uneasiness, and he suggests that they talk and work it out. Oz is like, Veruca, meet me at the crypt, and he's trying to lock her in the cage with him, and she's,
I'll save you.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't want to be in the cage. I want to be an emo werewolf. Let's go eat people. I fucking hate Veruca. Also, Naomi points out that that Veruca is pretty hot. And, yeah.
I feel like Veruca was supposed to be hot. I don't think it actually worked out for her, but I also think it does not translate well today because she is like thirsty. She is thirsty as all get out. She is parched.
So Oz,
go ahead, Brandon. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought she was, for what she was trying to do, I thought she was fairly seductive. She couldn't lip sync, but 9 out of 10 men would have been like, let's go, honey.
Yeah, I guess I'm the 10th. Yeah.
Well,
she was just annoying.
After fighting her, he eventually gives in and starts making out with her, and they turn into werewolves. Willow shows up, and she sees Oz and Veruca curled up naked together. He gets dressed and has like a burst of anger toward Veruca. And he tries to explain things to Willow, but she is not featuring him at all.
She is not receptive.
And then he tries to put it back on her, like, well, I know how it feels. And I was just like, you asshole.
Yeah, he is absolutely an asshole in this one. And he's like super confused about how he feels about Veruca, and whatever. Willow,
his animal instinct kicked in.
Right. Willow's super out of it. She almost gets hit by a car. And Riley shows up and helps her not be hit by a car. They go back to the dorm. Willow tells Buffy the whole story. Buffy takes off. She's going to take care of Veruca. Oz is also looking for Veruca. But Buffy is pissed off at Oz, and she doesn't want to hear his side of the story at all. Buffy is great in this episode, by the way.
She really is.
Yeah, Buffy's
now's the time you want to go on with your marked stoicism, your usual stoicism. Yeah. And I was like, you tell him, girl.
Exactly. So Buffy and Oz find Veruca's clothes. They realize that it's a diversion and that Veruca's gone after Willow. They rush back to the college. Buffy runs into the excuse me. Buffy runs into one of the army guys, and it's just sort of a quick thing. This is one of several run-ins that we've had with the army guys, which is going to culminate in next week's episode where we
started on the army
guys. They just bounce off each other with giant guns. Like, oh, sorry about that.
Get me started.
Was anybody else reminded of Angelus with the same tactic? Distracting Buffy away and then attacking her friends.
Yes. We were talking about that the other day, that Buffy falls for it every single time. And there's like 9 or 10 instances of it all through the show. Like when they go after.
This is the third I remember.
Spoiled it. But yeah, there's several.
Yeah. Willow is trying to cast a spell that's like a revenge spell against Oz and Veruca. She can't bring herself to complete the spell. Veruca shows up. She locks the door. She's planning on killing Willow. Oz breaks in, warns Veruca. They start fighting. She tells Oz that they're animals at heart. And Oz is like, fuck it, I'm going to kill your ass. And proceeds to kill her ass.
Tears her throat out. I like that. Nice and bloody.
Exactly. Then Oz is, he's full werewolf. He can't control anything. So he goes after to go try to kill Willow. And he gets tranked and is down by Buffy. So Buffy goes and tells Giles about the army guys that she sees. She couldn't stop Oz. And they're more concerned about Willow and Oz, and Buffy can't imagine how they're going to get through this. Willow finds Oz in his room packing. Oh, this seems to be so sad.
It makes me sad, and it makes me... Now, I know that Seth was leaving the show, but it pisses me off at... it reminds me of Angel, like, well, I can't handle this. I'm going to dip. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought they wrote it pretty well. There was none of the really obvious exposition. Like, he never did that thing, I can't stay because I'll kill people, blah, blah. They just skipped all of that stuff that I think a lesser show would have wasted time on.
I agree with that.
The whole thing worked really well.
Oh, yeah. Execution-wise, it was beautiful. I still, at the end of this, I was like, oh, my heart.
And so he leaves, and there's the bit where he looks like he's going to turn around and come back, and he doesn't, and it's really upsetting.
That was brilliant when he turns the van off and has that second thought and then turns it back on. It's like, ah.
I hated it. Hated it.
Why,
and
Jewel?
Willow
I'm curious.
As Sarah said, Willow crying is really upsetting. That's like the one thing that she really, really does well.
Allie's the
Allison
best
Hannigan
crier
does
in the business.
and
Yes.
great. I don't know if one of us
episode
just broke
just
up or if all of us did.
No, I'm still here. Am I still here?
Great.
I see everybody.
I
right.
hated
Hey,
it.
I'm here.
Didn't love it. Couldn't stand it. Was not an episode for me. It was It was fine. It was those werewolf costumes just irritated me.
Yeah.
I knew Joel was going to be like, those are ass.
Those are. It's like a dummy, like a Care Bear face with fangs and like all this fuzz. It just stupid.
Care Bears are terrifying. So,
before we move on to our final thoughts, let's do a little bit of trivia from this episode. This is the last time that Seth Green appears in the opening credits. He wanted there to be a love triangle for most of season 4. I'm sorry, Joss wanted there to be a love triangle between Oz, Veruca, and Willow for most of season 4, but Seth Green left abruptly, saying that the character was better served in a recurring capacity, and Joss and I both felt it was better to revert to that status. But Seth Green actually only returned in 2 episodes, New Moon Rising and Restless, both in season 4.
Do we know why he really left?
Because he was making movies and
He felt his storyline was middling at best. He was kind of a middle player piece of furniture, and he was getting movies.
And he's not really wrong. I mean, Oz was mostly inconsequential for most of the series.
And there wasn't bad blood.
It really was.
Because I think he started Robot Chicken right after this.
Right. Joss says that losing Seth Green so suddenly was a heartbreaker, and so Willow got her heart broken. I took what we were feeling and put it on screen so everybody would be on the same page. There you go.
That's an interesting way to write it. I think that works.
Yeah. And in 1985, Lindsay Krause played Seth Green's mother in the ABC After School special I Want to Go Home.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lindsay Krause also plays Professor Walsh in this episode. So Seth Green had to go kill his former mother.
Hate it.
And the relation between Oz and Veruca is reminiscent of Angel and Darla in the episode Angel. Veruca wants to attract Oz to the dark forces by killing his lover. That makes sense. Okay, here is some foreign language titles. The French title is Que de Loup-Garou, or Werewolf Heart.
Werewolf Heart.
Yeah.
The Portuguese title is Carachoes Selvagens, or Wild Hearts. The German title is Wilde Herzen, or Wild Hearts.
Oh, that wasn't even German at all.
And the Spanish title is Corazon Salvaje, or Wild Heart. Yeah.
I was waiting for the German to be like...
I wanted a great one. I feel like there's so much they could have done with that.
Oh, there's so many. Heart, though, is a universal word, so it wasn't
Yeah.
going to be too wild.
So let's do final thoughts and a letter rating. We will start with our guest, Heather. Heather, what are your final thoughts and your letter rating for this episode?
I would say B-. I actually like this episode. There are moments, especially, for once, Oz being the bad guy, and the very end with him and Willow, both the breakup talk and the leave talk are fantastic. I would rate it higher, but I'm with Jewel. I have never been able to get past those god-awful costumes, and I know they didn't have budget or 3D, effects for it, but God.
Sometimes there's no excuse. Honest.
If you were, and I'm dating myself, but they had this show called Sigmund and the Sea Monsters when I was a little kid, and these look like dirty sea monsters,
like Sid and Marty Krofft costumes.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Thing.
Yeah. So B-. It was for me. It's solid. It's it's no Beer Bad, but it's also no Lover's Walk.
Beer Bad was great.
Beer Bad was awful.
Beer Bad was one of my favorite episodes.
It was a
Beer
great.
Bad is a travesty.
Wrong. BJ, final thoughts and a letter rating for this episode.
Not a whole lot statistically goes on here. Giles only takes his glasses off once, but we do get a school death of Veruca, for what it's worth. I mean, it's nice to have another death in school. I thought that Oz's predicament was handled excellently. I really liked the story of it. I liked the execution of it, the writing particularly. The costumes didn't bother me at all, although they were terrible. I was a little bit bothered by when Oz and Veruca wake up in their cell. They are supposed to be naked, and they're very clearly wearing skin-colored underwear, which I thought was very funny. And all in all, I gave this a B. I really liked it and would have given it an A-, but man, did I hate Veruca. Not the character as much as the way she was portrayed. That whole sultry whatever just didn't work at all. And I found her just so annoying.
Just completely turned you off, huh? Opposite reaction.
B-arf. Terrible. Anyway, I give it a B because I liked everything else about it very much.
Oh man.
Jewel, final thoughts and letter rating.
C-. It was stupid. It was dumb. It wasn't a great episode. I understand why it was needed because Oz needed to leave. Something had to happen. Also, I feel like now that I've seen the photo of Willow with red eyes, something's going to happen there. So she's got to have an impetus to be bad or to get possessed or whatever. So obviously Oz had to go. She's got to be single. She's got to have her heart broken. And Veruca.
Joel has a lot going on.
Who's dragging around the dead body?
Ice needs to happen, I guess. Anyway.
There's two werewolves fighting in the other room.
There's two werewolves fighting in the other room over the vodka bottle.
Over the vodka bottle.
It's an aggressive moment here. Dangerous in the desert. It's how we do it, how we roll. But
could be Jewish werewolves.
Definitely Jewish werewolf. Definitely. This one for sure.
So you're going C- on this one.
I'm going hard C-. I didn't think it didn't have any other characters in it. I thought they could have maybe involved some other people. I thought it was boring. I thought it was too one note. And I'm always asking for Joss to give us more of a one note episode, pick a lane and stick with it. And he did this time, and I understand why he doesn't.
Okay.
I need more stimulation. I need some other things going on. I don't care about Oz. He was such a secondary character to me that I still don't care that he's gone. Okay, where's Buffy? Where's Xander? He was just getting good.
Wait, you didn't like Xander's little pep talk?
Yeah, Xander's pep talk
was
great.
wonderful.
And I don't like Xander. I thought that was a great pep talk.
It didn't sing to me. Okay.
Okay. I agree with you, Jewel, to an extent. The first 42 minutes of this episode are kind of dumb. Veruca's terrible. The whole story, Oz acts entirely out of character for no reason. There's no build up to this.
Oh, you're both wrong.
This was not who he was.
Right.
Yeah. However, the last 5 minutes of this episode with Willow dealing with Oz leaving, and the emotions and the acting in those scenes really elevate it for me because it's actually really well acted. I am going to give this episode a C+.
Fair.
Man, I am really surprised that you guys felt that Oz was out of character. I thought that was exactly the point, that he's feeling the wolf, and it's really confusing and bothersome.
I think if I cared about Oz at all, I'm not invested. I don't care.
Fair enough. All right. So the next thing that we are talking about is the Angel episode Sense and Sensitivity. Angel fears that Kate's life is in danger after he helps her nab monster Tony Papazian, a dangerous murder suspect. The next day, after a retirement party for Kate's father, Trevor, a veteran police officer, Kate and all her coworkers become distracted due to seemingly innocuous sensitivity training. The training is led by a warlock working for Papazian's lawyer, Lee Mercer, a new lawyer at Wolfram and Hart. The training turns the entire police precinct into an emotional mess. The resulting chaos gives Papazian the opportunity to escape with a group of inmates and attempt to kill Kate. Cordelia and Doyle must come to the rescue after Angel himself becomes infected with the sensitivity spell.
Okay, so I need to apologize to the previous episode for being such a dick, because it wasn't fair of me to use the word stupid to describe Buffy when this is offered to me.
This was very stupid.
It was incredibly
Very
stupid.
Oh
my God. I
love
love this show. I love this show.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Stupid is not necessarily bad.
Oh, the whole sensitivity training and all the cops going off the rail is gold. It's gold. Angel in his Hawaiian shirt, gold.
That made no sense, but I liked it.
It made no sense. Why are you shirt?
I had a great time with this
Angel
show.
tried to be
it
funny.
Was hilarious.
Yeah. Angel tried to be funny, and Angel using Batman, weaponry, stakes up his sleeves.
Hello.
Both of those are ridiculously out of character.
Cordelia talking about insensitivity throughout the whole show. Cordelia.
Right.
Cordelia,
she dropped a Star Trek reference, so I'm good.
The whole bit with her and Doyle in the sewers fighting the squid monster, and she's like, he doesn't even say please or thank you. They're talking about Angel. Right. He doesn't even say please or thank you whenever he's so clueless as the squid is wrapping around Doyle. And
the calamar is choking Doyle out. She's like, me.
How abrupt was that when it was just like, cut and now credits, or, roll the opening title. Like, what just happened? This whole episode had me frustrated.
Well, we meet Kate's
I'm
dad.
Questioning why I work in this business at times. What was this? How did this get made?
We meet Kate's dad. Kate's dad is like gruff. Like, this is the problem with the first season of Angel. While I generally like it, and it does get better as it goes along, it could never figure out what it wanted to be. Does it want to be a gritty cop drama? Does it want to be a comedic Buffy-esque show, or does it want to be like a supernatural detective show? And eventually it finds its footing. Eventually it goes into the supernatural detective thing before going completely off the rails in a couple seasons. But
Kate and her dad could have been something good to explore. I thought that
100%.
the actor's good, and it, if that episode was entirely different, it could have fit and worked quite well. But as it was, the tone was just wildly divergent from the rest of the episode.
Well, and I feel like this is more Boreanaz's character that he likes to play. Do you know what I mean? He gets tired of being Angel, and so he either likes to be Angelus or he likes to be funny guy. So
goofy.
Like, he was notorious for being a prankster on both sets. So I'm sure he had a big hand in the Hawaiian shirt and all that kind of stuff. So,
I didn't get the Hawaiian shirt. I didn't understand why.
He leaves it in his car for just this kind of emergency.
It was really stupid, but it did make me laugh.
Stupid.
Oh, I laughed my ass off. Him just showing up there, non sequitur, dressed like a tourist, talking to these mob guys. It was gold. I loved it.
Well, I felt like I was watching a Jonathan Taylor Thomas film. Like, it just did not work for me.
I agree.
But I do agree with you, Brandon, about the whole first season, that it didn't know they had no idea what they wanted to be.
And despite that, there's some really good episodes.
Yeah,
this is not one of them.
No, it's not.
Heresy.
But yeah, like the whole thing with her and her dad. I did like the scene where she's confronting her dad at his retirement party, and she's like brainwashed by sensitivity training, and she like is telling the truth for the first time ever, and she's letting her guard down. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like how that scene kind of like slow rolled into explaining what was going on. Like she's having some kind of breakdown, and then other cops start acting emotionally. We didn't really see it up to that point, so it starts seeming really serious, and then we kind of get what was going on. Unless I was particularly slow on that.
No, you're right. It's intended to feel like it's a serious thing's happening until you realize that it's all brainwashing from the thing. Jewel, it reminded me of the scene in Simply Irresistible when everybody's eating the food and they start crying.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I see that.
I watched that crappy movie so much just for what's his name. You know what I mean?
Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah.
I get it.
Girl.
So I'm going through my notes and my synopsis, and I don't have much to add here. The cops, like BJ said, the cops all start going through that.
Because you can't comment on the truly terrible.
Well, we can comment on Kate's truly terrible wardrobe.
Oh
Really?
my God! Right?
That's not helpful.
One thing you can bring up is this is when you start to see Wolfram and Hart spooking around, and
the lawyers.
Mm-hmm. This is really the first.
That's true. Other than the first episode when we see Angel kick the guy out the window.
Right.
Wolfram and Hart
that was going on.
They really do come into play in this episode, and they become the big bad for the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike Buffy, Angel really has a big bad that lasts the entire series from the pilot to the final episode, which in a lot of ways makes it a better show for me than Buffy. I mean that they're able to have this one. It doesn't actually make it a better show, but
it's not true even in the slight. Angel in no way is a better show than Buffy at this.
I don't disagree. All I'm saying is that I wish Buffy had a single villain that went longer than one season. The only thing we get anything close to that is the first.
Right. I was going to say, you could argue it's the first, but it's very hands off, right?
And it's also from season 3 to season 7.
Yeah. I've always said Angel always had like a straighter track than Buffy. I don't think it's a better show than Buffy, but I think it's also a very different show than Buffy.
It's for the most part, it's more structured than Buffy.
It's darker. It's less funny.
It's like a formula. It's not good. It's not a good formula.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is that it's like a police procedural. You know, if you watch Law and Order, every episode of Law and Order is exactly the same. They just change the circumstances and the characters, but it's always 3 acts. This happens here. It's not the guy we thought it was. Like Law and Order and Scooby Doo.
It's really his sister. You know.
Yeah, Law and Order and Scooby Doo are the exact same show.
And you've never seen them both in the same place at the same time.
That's true. Right? That's true.
At the moment, given the choice, I would prefer to watch Buffy over this.
I watched Buffy like it was heroin for me. And after I got done with it, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to go right into Angel now. And I watched Angel, and the first time I got done with it, I was like, well, that wasn't even close. Now, I've watched Angel probably 6 or 7 times since, and it's grown on me. Yeah. It's one of those shows that does better the more you look at it. There's always going to be clunkers, but I have a better appreciation for the show now than I did the first time. I watched it maybe because I had expectations of Buffy Part 2 or something like that, but it was really tough for me with Buffy to compare the two.
We have a lot of people that feel that way that watch our show that are commenting now. Like, there's a lot of people that feel that way about Angel. It's just like, what, like, it's so far removed from what Buffy was. Yeah. But I do think it comes into its own, and I do think, and this is a controversial statement. I've said it a few times on this show, but I believe that the 5th season of Angel is consistently better than any other season of Buffy or Angel.
I think you're going to get shot.
I know.
I think season 5 is definitely the best season of Angel, and I think if you compared it to some of the Buffy seasons, it would be right in the middle of the pack. I don't think it's better than 5 or 2 for sure.
I think it's consistently quality where 2 and 5 both go like this.
Oh, see, and I think 2 and 5 are just rock solid. You start talking about this to me, and that's season
4.
3, 7, 4. Yeah.
Oh my God, 3 is one of my favorites. I think 6 and 3 are my 2 favorites.
6 is really dippy.
Disagree.
But man, when it's no, 6 is my favorite. Don't get me wrong, Brandon.
Yeah.
But when it clunks, it clunks.
Yeah. So the episode ends. We get more of that Wolfram and Hart stuff. Little Tony is not working with Wolfram and Hart anymore. Kate is just like sitting in her chair and mopey, and it's fucking stupid. Anyway, let's do a little bit of trivia before we continue on. This is the second episode that Tim Minear wrote. His first script actually goes into production later. Tim is one of the co-creators of Wonder Falls, my favorite show ever.
Well, Tim messed up this week.
The final scene in which Kate and her father meet, Tim Minear originally wrote it as a big TV ending where they hug, but Joss insisted that Kate's father act as though nothing had changed.
That was a good decision.
That is a good call, 100%.
He acted as if he didn't quite understand what went down with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I would think he'd be a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
If he understood that it was
he's an old Irish cop. Hell no.
Yeah. Tim Minear himself has talked about how much he doesn't like this episode, and he regrets the casting in this episode, and that it felt like a bad Sopranos knockoff.
It sure did.
Yeah.
Did he say specifically which casting he didn't like?
The casting of Little Tony.
Yeah, that was a little over the top.
Yeah. Kate's father, when he meets Angel, says that it's good to see her with a man because he was starting to wonder if she was leaning in the other direction. Elizabeth Rome, who plays Kate, also stars on Law & Order as Serena Sutherland, and she is outed as a lesbian in her final episode of Law & Order.
Wow. Pretty edgy for Law & Order.
Yeah, no kidding. And let me find my foreign language titles. I forgot to put them in my notes. Give me 1 second. I got them right here. There's only 2. The German title is... Oh, fuck. Verwirrung.
Doesn't sound like German.
Der Gefühl, which means confusion of feelings. And the French title is Raisons et Sentiments, or Reasons and Feelings.
Oh, boy.
Well, those both fucking suck. Okay.
There's nothing good about this show. I'm going first. Solid F. Stupid. Stupid is offensive to people who are stupid.
But you love last week's episode. You loved Cordelia and her ghost roommate.
That was Cordelia based. This was stupid.
Yes, I agree.
You have to.
This was just everything about this was stupid.
There we go.
Why is her father there and a dick? Like, I just felt like there was no context for anything. It was just like, we're going to write an episode and bring a whole bunch of shit together.
Okay, BJ, what's your final thoughts on this one?
I enjoyed this episode. It was stupid. This was a stupid episode that I enjoyed every minute of. I think I like the really dumb ones. I laughed a lot. It was definitely the funniest Angel yet. And what can I tell you? If I laugh, I like it. And but it was really stupid. So B-.
Heather.
I'm with BJ. It's stupid. Got to B- for making me laugh. Got the cops acting out of character, Angel acting out of character, which Boreanaz does really well, and Cordelia, of course, talking about Angel being insensitive while poor Doyle gets strangled by the calamari, and is obsessing about her shoes and like, look at me, but you're not being sensitive enough. I just thought it was too funny. And I still cringe when Kate gives that speech. Yeah. Because my dad was a hard ass too. And I'm all like, if I had ever done that to my father, he would never speak to me again.
Okay. This episode is not only stupid, it's also entirely inconsequential. It serves no greater purpose in the whole story. It doesn't establish anything about the characters we didn't already know.
Nothing.
The only scenes that I like are Kate giving that crazy speech to her dad and Doyle and Cordelia in the sewers fighting the calamari monster thing. Those were the only two scenes that I thought were any good in the whole episode. This is definitely the worst episode of Angel so far. Potentially one of the worst of the entire series.
Worse than I Fall to Pieces?
Oh, I love I Fall to
I love
Pieces.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wait, you did not laugh when the cop is unlocking the jail cells. You're talking about how they
And they all take him out.
You know, maybe I thought this was funnier when I first watched it, but now that I have my feelings on police, I have a different opinion.
I could see that because it's kind of like, wow, this really is out of character.
Yeah. I am going to go ahead. I'm not as harsh as Jewel. I'm not going to say it's an F just because I'm reserving that for when Connor comes around.
It's not a fail. It's just a fail.
I'm going to go ahead and give this a D.
Harsh.
There's very little redeeming in this episode. If this was an episode that someone played for me of a show I'd never seen before and said, this is Angel, I would say, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
100%.
I'd have to agree with that too.
So it's a D for me. Good for whoever decided to make this fucking episode. I mean, it's awful. So that's what I got. It didn't piss me off. I wasn't angry at how bad it was, like I have been at some other episodes, which is why it's a D and not an F for me. Beer Bad pisses me off at how bad it is. So anyway.
I would rather do anything else than watch this Angel episode again. I just feel like it wasted my time.
This isn't even in my bottom 10, man.
Let's play What Surgery Would You Rather Have than watch Sense and Sensitivity again? No. I'd rather have all my teeth removed. It's really shitty. It's really stupid. Angel gets better and then gets worse and then gets better and then gets worse and then gets really better again. So
is not a good time.
Yeah, when Connor comes around.
Oh, don't even get me started on Connor.
Angry.
No.
We'll talk about it in the future. I
watched all of Angel at Brandon's behest, and he had me skip the entire season.
Season 4
and 4.
Yeah, he just had me skip them. So I'm looking forward to that now because clearly I like the shitty episodes.
So, Brandon, you'll appreciate that. One of my co-hosts suggested in our private chat that Holtz is hot.
What does that mean?
Yeah. I can see it in a way.
Holtz! Connor's dad.
He's no Gru. Okay.
No, he is not.
The Patreon.
All right, let's talk about our Patreon. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/GrrArghCast. It is $5 a month, and it took me a second to get over here. If you sign up for our Patreon, it's $5 a month. You have access to our private Facebook group where you can talk to me and Jewel anytime you want. You can trade air fryer recipes with Jamie and Naomi. We can talk about fan fiction with Ashley. Will and I can be the only men in the group and complain constantly. Oh, Terrence. Me, Will, and Terrence are the only men in the group, and BJ, obviously.
Not terribly active, but maybe I'll get in the hot tub. And
yeah, we got to have those before you dip, Brandon.
Yes, I will dip before we dip. I'm actually in the town with the hot springs next week for the show, so maybe. And we also have extended interviews. We have our full interview with Harry Groner is up there now. All future interviews that we do, we're going to be cutting down for the podcast. So the people that see them will see the shorter versions, and the full versions will be available on our Patreon. So patreon.com/GrrArghCast for that. We are live on every podcast hosting site there is. So just go find us on all of those. Literally, there's not a single podcast site that I don't think we're on at this point. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Amazon. We're on Spotify. We're on everything.
We're on all the things.
Look for us there. Naomi said Hot Springs Time Machine, and she is correct.
Yeah.
Bobbing Along, our Wonder Falls podcast. We just recorded our second episode. It's a limited series. There's only 12 episodes, so we only have 12 episodes. But check it out. Wonder Falls is a show that not very many people saw, but I love it with all of my heart. And all of the episodes are on YouTube.
It won me over.
Right. December 1st, our new podcast, Winging It, starts with myself and Apollo Pizzell. We will be reviewing every episode of The West Wing. We'll also have special guests from the world of politics and from the cast of The West Wing, which is going to be really fun. We're bringing in all different kinds of political movers and shakers to talk about the themes that are explored in those episodes. We have, let me tell you, we have some really good guests lined up, including 2 formal presidential candidates.
Nice.
And a former Secretary of State. And an MSNBC host. So
Nice.
I can't tell you much else, but that's what we got so far. And join us next week, September 20th, 3 p.m. Pacific. We will be talking about The Initiative, where we finally learn who the military guys are, and Bachelor Party, where Doyle gets his head cut open by a friend of the show, Carlos Chacot.
That guy's everywhere.
Heather, tell people where they can find you.
I am Heather from the Nevers podcast. We are awaiting Joss's new show, The Nevers. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and everything else that you can think of. We're everywhere. Or you can email us at theneverspodcast@gmail.com. We have theneverspodcast.com, and we also have a Patreon where we're doing Dollhouse right now as our show for our subscribers. And after that's over, we're doing Firefly.
Nice. We will be covering Dollhouse and Firefly eventually as well, but it's going to be a hot minute.
Yeah, it's gonna take you a minute with the West Wing. That's like 7 seasons, right?
Well, yeah, we'll be doing all these concurrently. We're not going to slow down our GrrArghCast, but we got 2 more seasons of Buffy. When this is done, we're doing 1 a week, and then we're doing Angel concurrently. So it's going to take us about 1.5 years to get through all of Buffy and Angel before we start the other stuff. Julia, in for the ride?
Oh, yeah.
Garrett.
Until I can't take any more.
BJ, thank you so much for joining us again.
As always.
We're so happy to have you fact-checking us and putting up amazing backgrounds.
Yeah.
Jewel, enjoy your vacation in Palm Springs with your noisy friends.
Yeah. Thanks you guys for having me. It's always a blast.
We'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Grr.
Grrr.
Grr.